Okay. Thank you so much for coming to the Phase 2 rollout of ABQ RIDE Forward, our new route network. Today we'll have several speakers here for you. We'll have Mayor Keller, we'll have Councilor Baca, Leslie Keener, and unfortunately our community member representative was unable to attend today, but he's here in spirit, and going to pass it straight along to Mayor Keller. Thank you.
All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. And just really here today to talk with an update on our public transit system. You know, it was about, I think it started 3 or 4 years ago, and we did a whole route review and all of these things that we need to do to make sure our transit system is doing as best as it can. Anyway, one of the conclusions is now what we're rolling out today. And so there were two parts to that. One is really the need for sort of a South Valley loop, a route that connects downtown to the South Valley and then up across the west side and back around. And so this is what we're rolling out starting this weekend. And we'll talk about that, but this Route 52 is going to be, and Route 155 is going to be adjusted to really serve higher impact areas. And also, frankly, areas where a lot of our workforce lives and that utilizes public transit in a heavy way. So we're going to work on that particular issue by adding that service. But also, we're going to better use our microtransit system with respect to the electric minibuses that are part of a really cool program. If you don't know what microtransit is, it's awesome. And we have it in a couple areas in the city, and so we're going to expand it again in sort of that part of town. And so we're going to add another area of coverage for our very popular microtransit program. And I also did want to touch on, and we may have some of this in the question and answers, but you know, we do know it's budget season, of course, and we are getting a lot of questions about the city budget, in particular the transit budget. And that totally makes sense. But we did want to just debunk a couple of myths. You do see on paper a reduction in funds for the transit department, but I want to remind everyone that those are unfilled vacancies. And we moved about 50 unfilled vacancies out of Transit's budget to support, actually, frankly, homelessness, housing, and our community safety department and social workers. But there's still 50 available to hire because we know we need more bus drivers, and so we still have plenty to hire. So that was just, a structural pot of money that was never been used. We hadn't filled that many positions in almost a decade. So we're just shifting, again, that unused money, but there's still room to hire more. So the myth that we don't have room to hire more, not true. We can hire 50. And also the myth that somehow we actually cut the operating budget, that's actually not true because those were unfilled vacancies. So anyway, that's part of our general effort. As folks know, the city is in a very flat budget to deficit situation. And so, yeah, we got to fix some of these issues. And so those are some of the decisions that we made. So with more on this, especially details about the route, let me start by handing it over to our transit director, Leslie Keener.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for joining us today as we launch Phase 2 of ABQ RIDE Forward. This is another step forward for better transit in Albuquerque. So today we're celebrating more service and, as Mayor mentioned, a new microtransit zone with ABQ Connect. In the past, we've had to cut service due to staffing shortages. So I'm really proud to be at this podium again to share that we're adding service and also bringing innovative microtransit solutions to the South Valley. Now, as you heard Mayor talk about, there are some concerns over the budget, and I just want you all to rest assured that we will be able to not only continue where we are currently with our services, but we actually anticipate that we'll be able to grow our services into the following year. And as Mayor said, we did lose 52 positions. Those were all vacant positions, and only 34 of those positions were driver positions. So that does leave us about 100 vacancies to fill into. And of that 100, we do have 50 driver vacancies still. So we do believe that we'll be able to continue growing our service into 27 and continuing on in further phases of Forward. So ABQ RIDE Forward is our updated route network that's going to return us to our pre-2019 service levels. Again, it was community informed. It was developed over 3 years with extensive public participation, including dozens of meetings, direct rider conversations at bus stops and transit centers, and more than 3,000 surveys collected to guide its development. The new route network modernizes the transit system for riders in a way that makes sense for our Albuquerque and how Albuquerque moves today to meet the evolving needs of all of our transit riders. Changes are going to vary in each phase of the 16-phase rollout and include adjustments like adding or ending routes, reducing redundancies, adjusting route directionality, increasing frequency, and strategically integrating our microtransit service. We launched the first phase of ABQ RIDE Forward in mid-December, and here we are today getting ready to launch phase 2 on May 16th, which is this Saturday. That will bring ABQ RIDE Forward's implementation to 15% completion. And that's with 67% of our current service levels, of our prior service levels, and we're also seeing about 85% of our pre-pandemic ridership. So the service is definitely needed. There is a huge demand for the services that we have. So the South Valley, where we're here today, this phase service updates are focused in this location. The changes that you'll see starting May 16th is, one, we're going to discontinue Route 51. That route is going to be replaced by our microtransit service. So rest assured that anyone that uses Route 51 will be able to use ABQ Ride Connect, or also the new route that we have coming, which is 52. The new ABQ Ride Connect zone, which we're referring to as the South Valley zone, will include the area south of Central, west of the Rio Grande, north of Rio Bravo, and east of Coors Boulevard. So this will be the first time that you can now navigate everywhere south of Central, west of the river, north of Rio Bravo and Dennis Chavez, and east of 114th and 118th Street for free by using our ABQ Ride Connect. So really think of the possibilities that opens and the communities that can connect in those areas. Within these zones are transit centers, healthcare sites, grocery stores, parks, libraries, community centers, senior centers, and more. So it really truly will be able to connect you to your livelihood. Thirdly, we have the new Route 52. This route is going to serve downtown. You'll be able to go to Barelas, the zoo, the National Hispanic Cultural Center, Valle del Sol and Las Estancias shopping centers, and many neighborhoods including San Jose, Mountain View, and Valley Gardens. And then finally, we will have some route changes as well. Route 53 and 155 will be adjusted slightly to serve more high-impact areas. So that's really what the public needs to know. The big thing is your route may change, and all of the changes are available at abqride.com. They'll be updated as well on the Transit app and Google Maps. And we do anticipate that ABQ RIDE Forward will be implemented fully by late 2029. So again, this is phase 2 of 16 phases that we're currently planning. And should staffing levels continue to return, as we have seen our vacancy rates drop, we will look to try and expedite that implementation as well. So really just excited about the new change in service, the addition of hours, and again, being able up here to stand up here and say we are able as ABQ RIDE to bring you more service to the community. With that, I guess I turn it back over to Mayor.
Okay, I'm actually just going to hand it over to a champion of public transit that we work with often, and in this area, his district, Councilor Joaquin Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. I love transit. In fact, I rode the art bus over here, which, I love art. I'm just so everybody knows. So anytime we can make our system more efficient and better service to folks in our area, I'm 100% for. We have heard a ton from constituents lately on the budget and what's happening. So just want to thank the mayor for dispelling these myths, getting some accurate information out there. It's sometimes hard to get that out, so I appreciate that. And here at council, we definitely take all that feedback as well. Like we listen to it. So we've had a lot of discussions, and I think we'll come to a place that's mutually beneficial for everyone and our transit riders. So with that, I'm just always glad to see our system get better as we move forward. So thank you.
Okay, any questions? Is that a hand raised, Faith? Or?
It is a hand.
Okay.
Sorry, I was talking to Thank you. So I have two questions. Regarding the routes, can you elaborate on the cause of staffing shortages, and is there an urgency for those 52 vacancies to be filled now that there are new route changes being added and just changes overall? That's my first question. My second question, because now that we have you, you're such a busy guy, what are your thoughts on the enhanced service and safety zone ordinance? The reason why I'm asking
Okay, so let's do this. We'll happy to take both questions, of course, but let's do the transit stuff, and then I'll talk to you after about your other one. So, firstly, this is happening in regardless of the budget. So these route changes were needed to adjust for our population regardless. And also, we have had a request and desire for more drivers for multiple years. So that has not changed. We have increased compensation a lot. So now our drivers are in a much better spot and our recruiting is much better. So our director can speak more to that. But these changes we would have made regardless of the situation.
Yes, and that's a great question. So, we have made some strides over the last year. As I've said, over my last years here, we've been decreasing service because of the staffing levels that we've seen, and they were continuing to get worse. We've been able to not only stop the bleeding, but actually build back our drivers. So we're anticipating we'll finish this year about 30 more drivers than we had at the start of last year. So that's some improvements, and a lot of that had to do with just the culture that we're creating at Transit and making it a good place to work, listening to feedback of the drivers, and taking action on the things that they want to see, including some of the safety initiatives that you've seen out of the transit department as well. And so I do anticipate that we'll continue to see those vacancy rates drop, and our retention is improving as well.
All right. What are the questions for our Q&A session here? Go ahead.
I'd like to learn more about the route that was eliminated. I'm Barbara with Univision, by the way. How did you make that decision, and were there any communities affected by this change?
Okay. Do you want to answer?
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. So when we look at our routes, we look at ridership information. And so this is one of our lower performing routes. We actually did this back in December as well in the first phase. We had a Rio Grande zone, which is the zone that's in blue here, that was already established. And we were able to use that zone in order to discontinue our Route 36. And again, that's one of the lower ridership routes. And so we don't get a lot of people on it. So it costs more for us to operate those routes. So this makes more sense for us. And plus it expands the coverage that people are able to reach. So instead of just being able to go where that route travels, now they'll be able to go anywhere within the zone and even connect outside of the zone as well.
That was a great question. Thank you. All right. Any other questions from the media?
How does it work? How do passengers access ABQ RIDE Forward?
Such a good question, and I can answer that one. So we do have an app that is powered by a company called RideCo. The app is called ABQ RIDE Go ! And you can find that on Google Play in the Apple Store. So go ahead and download that, and you can book all your rides that way. And alternatively, if you're not tech savvy or don't like downloading apps, I know a lot of people can relate to that, you can call our customer service team at 505-243-RIDE, and they can book the rides for you that way as well. All right, anything else? Okay, great. We'll connect with you with a pull-aside after for your other question, Faith. And thank you all so much for being here. And a big thank you to everyone in the audience who came. So many people who are here were a huge part of the growth of ABQ RIDE Forward and rolling out our route network. So big applause to them. Thank you, and have a great day. Thanks.